Okay. Hi there, everybody, and welcome to today's workshop on From Novices to Expert. Yes, this is for business coaches today, and today you're going to learn 3 proven strategies that business coaches can use to help business owners. Now, if you're not a business coach at the moment, yes, we certainly cater for people that are wanting to become a business coach. But you're going to leave this workshop with a roadmap on how to attract and retain high-paying coaching clients. Now, a little bit more about today's workshop, a little bit of housekeeping. Initially, I would like to introduce you to my executive assistant, Michelle. Say hi, Michelle.
Hi everyone.
Michelle is going to be in the box seat today. She's going to be taking down chat box inquiries and questions all day. So our duration today is going to be approximately 43 minutes. And I want to emphasize that this is an interactive workshop. Now, there's going to be case studies also to demonstrate the power of these strategies we're going to talk about today. But the interactivity I'm talking about here is if you have a question, put it into the chat box. We'll be pausing on a regular basis. And Michelle will notify me when there's some questions in there that really need to be answered immediately, or we can wait till the 20-second break that we might be having. Is that clear? So just feel free to just chat, throw it into the chat box and let us know what you want to know. And there's going to be also an open Q&A at the conclusion of this workshop. And we'll have an offer there for you that might be very intriguing, might be very interesting. It's a good starter thing for you that we are giving away for free, because that's what we do. We give things away for free here. We want to get you out there coaching, and we want to get you out there with small business owners. We're going to have a little bit of fun along the way too in these next 43 minutes. And you're going to really, at the end of the day, you're going to understand the importance of knowing your numbers in business and how you can use that knowledge of numbers to onboard clients and to retain clients. So without further ado, let's get rolling. Okay, for those that don't know me, my name's Pete Lawson. My background is in accounting. I practiced accounting for 22 plus years. During that time, I helped business owners to keep their eye on their numbers and know their numbers. And I realized during that time how important it was for business owners to know their numbers. You need to know that's important as well. Every business owner needs an accountant. Every business owner needs a coach. They need an accountant to prepare financials on a regular basis, and they need, from those financials, identify hidden profits or opportunities, and then they need a business coach to get in there and do it, make it happen with them. Business owners need to be accountable to the numbers. Just by being accountable to the numbers, their business will grow in whatever direction they wish. And my purpose in life these days is to educate the world on the importance of knowing your numbers in business. Now, I'd like to get the chat box rolling, okay? If we could, what I want to do is I want to ask you all, what are you expecting to get out of this workshop? Pretty important. What are you expecting to get out of this workshop? Because I'd like to know what your expectations are. We can answer those expectations as we go through. So if you can just put those into the chat box right now, Michelle will collect all those, and we'll get things rolling along. Michelle, are there some rolling in there now? I can see a few coming in there. There's a really good one there. One of the coaches here is expecting to double the size of their client population. I don't know what the current population of your client is at the moment, but you'd like to double your growth of your business. That's a good thing. Yes, we can certainly help you with that. Somebody else said, I'm not a numbers person. There's a majority of coaches do say that to me. I'm not a numbers person. By the time we finish here, you'll want to be a numbers person, and you'll find that it's not that difficult. Accountants make it sound really hard. I'm going to make it sound pretty easy today. Okay, let's get on with it. Keep throwing them in there if you like, but they are great audience participation there. So from talking to hundreds of coaches as I have in the past, I find there are really 3 main challenges. The first one is finding clients. Not just finding clients. We don't want to talk to clients for the sake of, or prospects for the sake of talking to them. We want to talk to the right prospects. And you've got to firstly identify what your ideal client looks like. Is it a person that's polite? Is it a person that listens? Anything you like. But then identifying that will be finding the clients that you want to work with. The next one's getting clients to come on board. I experience with a lot of coaches, they believe they have a sales process, but they really don't. And sales is about follow up, follow up, follow up. But the most important thing with sales is gathering or gaining rapport with your client. Once you gain rapport, and I'll go into this a little bit more later. Once you've got that rapport, you've got you've got their ears. You don't have to sell anything. They actually buy from you, but you've got their trust. Okay, and the other one's retention of clients for long periods. A lot of coaches talking about, clients stay on for 3 or 6 months or whatever, but it's crazy the number of times I see coaches offering 3 or 6 month programs. Well, you've already got into the mindset of the client that that's what we're going to do. You'll find with this process of looking at numbers, nothing happens overnight with coaching. It takes 12 months to get things done. And the thing is, you've got to remember, you can't just do everything at once. If you try to do that, it ain't going to happen. Well, we're all here because we want to be business coaches, or we are business coaches that want to improve our business. And let's look at your ideal client. Your ideal client is a business owner, and preferably a business owner that wants to grow their business so they don't have to work in that business. Now, in order to find the pain points for your business owners, there might be a niche business industry you look at. You need to know what keeps business owners awake at night. That way you can address their hot buttons. Now, I'll tell you what keeps business owners awake at night. According to the Bureau of Statistics in Australia and the USA, 50% of businesses go broke in the first year. Yeah, 50%, sorry, in the first 5 years. And that's what keeps business owners awake at night. In today's workshop, you're going to learn why this happens, and you're going to know how to stop businesses from failing. Now, an interesting statistic is that 82% of that 50% go broke in the first 5 years because they don't know their numbers. First thing I see is they don't seek advice from accountants and business coaches. They don't put a feasibility study together. They don't put a budget together. They don't look at whether the business will work. They don't prepare budgets and plans. Now, to see how a business would work, they'd approach a business coach to do a feasibility study on marketing. See if there's a market, there's demand for the product. And you've got to do your numbers to see how much money you're going to need, because these businesses, they run out of money. And the thing is, everybody in this room and every business owner needs to be accountable. You'll find that the reason why people fail, they don't have goals or visions in place, but the big thing is they don't have somebody like a business coach or an accountant, mainly a business coach, to keep them accountable. It's all about the numbers. And numbers are the language of accounting, and accounting is the language of business. Now, that's a statement that Warren Buffett made. I'm not sure if everybody knows who Warren Buffett is. If you don't, have a look at Google. Okay, this is a question I get asked all the time. How do I get clients? How do coaches get clients? As a coach, you need to differentiate yourself from the pack, because the way I saw it as an accountant, there's coaches and there's coaches. And there's some coaches around that are extremely good, and there's some around that aren't so good. The average income or revenue for a coach in the USA is $60,000 a year. Now, I know there's a few coaches that earn a hell of a lot more than that, but there's also a hell of a lot of coaches who earn a lot less than that, because they're following the pack. You need to differentiate yourself from the pack. And you might say, how do we do that? Well, you do that by knowing your numbers in business. There's more than 60, 70% of business coaches that avoid numbers. I'm not a numbers person. They get scared of numbers. The reason why they're scared is because the only people they've talked about numbers are accountants. And accountants, I'm not knocking accountants, I am one myself, but accountants tend to, not explain things very well. They don't communicate these things, and they make it look hard. And I understand exactly where you're coming from. That's why today we're going to make it look a little easier. The other thing, by having a sales process to follow, is how you get clients. That way, it's all well and good. You get all these clients in. If you're not gathering rapport with them, you're not getting them across the line, it's not working. So where do you find clients? Creating profitable joint ventures. Going into a case study on that at the end of the workshop today. So I got to ask you the question, everybody in the room, put a yes or no in the chat box here. Do you know the numbers in your own business? Now, when I say learn to read financials, I mean enough to know things like sales revenue, how to calculate gross profit, how to calculate gross profit ratio. Gross profit ratio is the most used benchmark in every industry I know. How to calculate net profit, how to calculate that net profit ratio. Also, how to read a balance sheet enough to know how to find cash in the business. A lot of businesses are profitable, but cash poor. We find that in the balance sheet through the accounts receivable or debtors or the inventory or stock. And that's where the money is hidden. That's where it is. We find hidden profits as well. Go into that a little later. So I want another yes, no here. How are we going with those yes, no's, Michelle? We got plenty in there? Fantastic. Okay. Well, a lot of no's. Thank you for being so honest. Okay. So I want to know one more question before we move on. Do you think it's important to know your numbers? Put a yay or an A, yes or no. Okay. I'll have a look at those later. Michelle, you'll point those out to me. Thank you. Okay. Business owners want coaches to show them the money. It's as simple as that. Learn how to read the financial statements, enough to know that sales revenue, gross profit ratio, etc. And that's where you're going to find the money. And the beautiful thing about the financials is there's no argument. They're prepared by the accountant, the most trusted advisor. And you know what that accountant prepares those financials on? Information provided by the business owner. So it's black and white. A little more about that later too. So show the business owner the money and you've demonstrated the value of your coaching fees. You now transition from a cost to an investment. Does that make sense? If you're charging $30,000 and you're making them $200,000, that's a pretty good investment. Remember, you might want to write this down also. Always get paid what you're worth. Coaches often come into the room and they undervalue what they bring to the table. Don't be one of those coaches. I say that because I'm guilty of that. I've made a bundle of mistakes, and that was one of them when I first started coaching. I'm going to show you how to prove your worth by looking at the financials and some very, very simple things. Now, let's have a look at this thing called market dominating position. That's where I want you to be. You've probably heard the term USP, unique selling proposition. I previously mentioned being different. And being different gives you a dominating marketing position. That makes you unique. It separates you from the pack. And then you become a very small minority of coaches that have this unique thing to offer clients. It's all about compelling offers. It's grand slam offers, we call them. So how do you differentiate yourself from other coaches, other business coaches specifically? So when you know how to read the numbers, and I know I've said this 3 times before today, but I want to put this through, you're automatically different from most business coaches when you can read numbers. Basically, numbers are the scorecard that show the effect of your coaching, and you need a scorekeeper there, which is the accountant. You identify areas of improvement around the numbers. I'm going to show you a little bit about that in a couple of slides. You'll also discover hidden profits. You'll discover hidden profits in the trading statement and profit and loss statement, and you'll discover cash flow and why cash is poor in the balance sheet items. These numbers I'm talking about, as I said, they're prepared by the accountant, their most trusted advisor. They're objective. There's no subjectivity or assumption about it. We find things in here, and we don't assume anything. As a matter of fact, to determine whether somebody should increase, a business owner should increase price, we go back to data that is presented, not our own data from organisations. These numbers I'm talking about, as I mentioned, they help you get referrals from accountants as well. Knowing the numbers is important because once you know the numbers, you're speaking the accountant's language. You're showing respect to the accountant. And I get back to this thing about rapport. Wouldn't we all love to get referrals from accountants? I'll tell you why later when we talk about joint ventures. But the thing is, once you've gathered rapport with accountants, then they are very happy to open up and share with you. There's been, in the past, a lot of times when accountants have been let down by coaches. The coaches haven't communicated, and they are very skeptical about coaches. You going in there talking a little bit of their language, it's like going to a foreign country and attempting to speak their language. That's when you start dropping the barriers and they start referring. So you can save a hell of a lot of time on marketing when you get that rapport building with the accountant. So just think about this. Do you know the cost of acquisition of a client? Do you think you could calculate that out? Things like your marketing spend, your time spend, the people engaged spend, etc. So let's move on. I'll talk about accountants a little more in the latter few slides. But okay, now what I want to do now, the next few slides, I'm going to show you how you can use numbers in a trading statement to find hidden profits. Also find your coaching fees as well. What we're going to look at is we're going to look at a trading statement. That's all we're going to look at today. We haven't got time to go through profit and loss and the balance sheets. And I just want to give you a bit of an idea. This is a case study. This was a wood manufacturer and wooden stools, actually, they made. And this is their trading statement. Now, a trading statement typically has the heading trading statement for company for the year ended 31 December, or it could be the period. Don't worry about that too much. Here is your typical trading statement. On here, we have sales revenue, which is the revenue you get from selling the stools, and less the cost of goods sold. Now, cost of goods sold are the direct expenses that relate to sales revenue, that affect sales revenue. In this case, the raw materials are timber, screws, nails, etc., that are required to make the product. In addition to that, they engage subcontractors to assemble the product. So I've just got that there at the present time. And the raw materials, 400,000, subcontractors, 100, total cost of sales, 500,000. 850 sales revenue, less cost of sales, gives us our gross profit. Now, I want to tell you a common error that business owners make, and that's why they're using incorrect numbers to assess how they're going with their business in accordance with industry standards. Most business owners think that the markup they have on their product is the gross profit ratio. Far, far from the truth, and I'll show you why in a sec. In this particular case, the stool manufacturer was marking up 70% on the cost of the goods sold. All right. So 70% on the 500,000. So to arrive at their revenue, multiply 500,000 by 1.7 or 70%, and you get a sales revenue of 850,000. Now, that then, as I mentioned, take off the cost of goods sold from the 850,000, we arrive at gross profit. And then to arrive at gross profit ratio, not markup, gross profit ratio, we divide that 350 into 850 and we come up with a ratio of 41%. Let me tell you what was happening with this stool manufacturer. I said, your gross profit ratio is 41%. He said, no, it's not. It's 70%. He was confusing the markup of the cost of goods sold, his 70%, with gross profit ratio. And that's a mistake that so many small business owners make. He said to me, no, I'm way over industry standard. I showed him the industry standard. The gross profit ratio in the steel manufacturing industry or the timber manufacturing industry was 48%. The manufacturer said, I'm well above industry standards, because he thought his markup was, in fact, gross profit ratio. Now, in the States, they use the terms gross profit margin. I don't like to use that term because margin is so closely associated to markup. And that's why this thing happened. This person was trading along the lines of, we're going fine. We've got a 70% gross profit ratio. No, at 41. So obviously we've got a gap between 41% and the industry standard of 48%. You might want to write those two numbers down. Cut a long story short, this guy was leaving a lot of money on the table. He had a pretty superior product as well. Now, bear in mind, the average gross profit ratio of the industry was 48%. we should have been shooting for the high upper level. But needless to say, we stayed conservatively here and we raised their price by 12%. Now, take 12% of 850,000. That put an extra $102,000 in the bank account of that person. How much does it cost to raise prices? Anybody want to hazard a guess? Put it in the chat box there. How much does it cost to raise prices? That's right. There is no cost. That's straight into the bank account. And you don't use the terms, oh, into your bottom line, into your net profit. No, straight to the bank account. So I've got to ask you this question, everybody in the room. Would you pay $36,000 to get a return of $102,000? Have a think about it. And you've got control over how that's done. You're not sticking it into a bank with somebody else controlling. You've got control because it's all done about the business. Simple as that. Raising prices by 12%. How to get coaching clients. That's the next one. So in the next few slides, we're going on to a bit of a sales concept. Now, look, before we go on, I should pause there. Sorry, Michelle. Thanks for reminding me. Anybody have any questions at this point? Let's have a bit of a pause. Have a bit of a question time. You want to put something in the chat box there. Okay, Michelle. Yeah, I've got that one. Let's see. All right. So somebody in the audience said, but gross margin is markup. That's why I don't use the term margin. Thanks for bringing that up. It's a good question, by the way. The reason why I don't use the term margin and I'm specific about using gross profit ratio is because margin and markup are just so close in terms. And I think you understand now that markup is the markup you put on the cost of goods sold. Now, and speaking of determining a gross profit, let's look at another example, a real estate office. Okay, real estate agent, and you bring me to a good point here. Thank you very much for that question. In regards to a real estate agent, okay, let's take the example there. Yeah, they don't have inventory, do they? No. But the classic is with a real estate agent, they have commissioned agents, correct? Sales agents. And they don't get paid unless they make a sale. So their commission, obviously, this is the needle on revenue. The more commission they have, the more the revenue needle goes up. So it is directly associated. And not many accountants prepare financials to show that in a lot of non-inventory industries. It's a great point because the inventory industries, of course, are manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, etc. But you've got to find ways also to look at gross profit ratio and keep that because that is something that you can use as a scorecard. Okay, I'm running out of time there, so enough said on that, but some great points there, by the way. Happy to go through them in Q&A, by the way, at the end. So how to get coaching clients. Okay, in the next few slides, you're going to learn how to get clients with a very simple sales process. Now, I want to start by saying there are three important elements to a sales process. The first one is rapport. Anybody want to guess what the second one might be? The big one, the big three. So put it in the chat box. Have we got a few there, Michelle? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've got some good ones here. Sales, follow-up sales process, yes. Make phone calls, yes. Yeah, all good, all good. Check in on the client, yeah, that's all good. The second most important one is rapport. So there's some great responses in there, but I believe that rapport is the most important thing in a sales process. Getting to know your person, getting to know your prospect, getting to know your client, getting to understand. And the third most important one is obviously rapport. Okay. And I think you can now guess that rapport. It's like real estate when they say, what are the three aspects? Yeah, position. It's location. Rapport builds trust. I want you to remember this. Rapport builds trust. And when you have trust, you don't need to sell your prospects. Your prospects will want to buy. And you need to write this down. All you are ever selling is a meeting. Never leave a meeting before arranging another meeting. These are the most important things. You need to keep in communication. You need to understand your client to reassure them. And listening, there's so many things around about how to listen. So I go on to things now. Obviously, people are going to listen to you a bit more if you've got what we call a compelling offer. So compelling offer is going to help you build rapport. I would at this stage normally go around the room and ask if you've got a compelling offer. If you do have one, write yes in the box and we'll have a look at how many people have got them while I go on with this. So the compelling offer will help you build rapport. And what we call a grand slam selling off a compelling offer, it's going to convince prospects to buy from you. You still got to gather that rapport, of course, but it's something nice to say while you're putting it through. You need to sell a meeting to be able to deliver your compelling offer. And that then starts the rapport building process. And you can do this through what I'm doing today, which is an event. It's a virtual event, but it's a very live, interactive event. Live events are by far the best way to do things. The next thing you need to know, and you might want to write this down, learn to understand to reassure. The point of writing is for the reader to understand. The point of good persuasion is for the prospect to feel understood. Now, that saying comes from a book called $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. That's Hormozi. That is a great book. Believe me, that's where you'll learn how to put together compelling offers. The next thing I adhere to with sales, ask, listen, learn. Ask, listen, and learn before you are heard. Be a good listener. There are so many great ebooks, etc., on listening. Go and grab them. And then to influence somebody and convince them that they're happy, you've got to get their trust. Transparency leads to truth. Truth leads to reality. And reality leads to results. That's when you'll get your results. I'll just pause there. Are there any questions that we have at this stage? Anything that you want to put in the chat box? See something in there, Michelle. Compelling offers. Yeah, look, they are important and you don't have to appear salesy. You just have to be passionate about what you're offering and you've got to find your niche. You've got to find out what you're doing that's going to help the client. You know what? You might want to write this down. You'll never go broke helping people. And that's a great question. Thanks for that. Never go broke helping people. Toolkit. These are important. You've got to have the resources. As you know, if you're a plumber, obviously you need a toolkit with all the right tools to do the fixing. And we know that old saying, a bad plumber always blames, or a bad tradesman always blames their tools. You need the right resources. This is a resource I use. I'd say in this day and age, you need a resource that comes with artificial intelligence, the big AI. Resources that will cover areas in the business. And there's one there, compelling offer. All these things, all these items, there's 12 of them they're essential for getting the business. Also a toolkit that provides you with a process to make sure you don't miss things when you are going through your coaching process. Very, very important. Does everybody in the room have a toolkit at the moment? I've got a couple of toolkits that I use. Very important that you have something that's going to keep you on track, more and more so your client on track. Things that have key performance indicators built in are fantastic. And you can get benchmarks for industries, but putting out key performance indicators is like setting goals for clients. And as I say, you don't want to do everything at once. You take one thing at a time, work on it, work through it. When we talk about increasing fees, you know that stool manufacturer. I'll give you an example there with the stool manufacturer. He just said, oh, if I put my prices up, I'll lose all my clients. And when we went through and analysed it properly, he realised that he was only going to lose 5% of his clients, and he had to lose 25% of his clients to be worse off from the information that we had. again, from other people's information. So the situation is there. We went through a sales process to make him very assured that what he was doing was the right thing. And he's continuing to raise prices at all times now. So the thing is, once you've got the toolkit, once you show them the numbers, once you show people you can find them profit and find them cash flow, they're convinced then that you're the person they want to help them with it. These people realize they can't do this stuff on their own. You and I can't do it on their own. I've got 2 coaches. So there's one simple question at the end of the day. Would you like my help with that? I'll quickly pause. Any questions there at the moment? Okay, I'm going to move on because I am mindful of time. And joint ventures. I wanted to get onto this one. Joint ventures are the quickest way to build a coaching business. And this is how I built this is really how I built a $330,000 coaching business. And I'll show you how I did that. Joint ventures, I'll read off the screen. They involve two or more business owners that decide to form a partnership to share markets or endorse a specific product or service to their customer base. And the key to creating successful joint ventures is to find partners who service the exact same type of clients that you need or want or what you sell. Have a bit of time now to write down, well, we won't do it now, but what I want you to do as an exercise is write down all the businesses that you could be doing joint ventures with. Have a think about this. The local printer. Oh, wouldn't go to the local printer. Yeah, but hang on. The local printer prints brochures, prints whatever, all the letterheads. We don't use letterheads that much anymore, but does all the printing requirements for businesses. They print their forms, their formats, et cetera, for meetings, whatnot. So obviously a printer has a lot of business owner clients. Now, if you were to go into with that printer and do a lovely presentation once a month, 8 to 10 of their clients in their boardroom, and doing what we call add-on value or added value, you are then differentiating yourself from other business coaches because they're not doing it. But number 2, the printer is differentiating him or herself from the other printers in the area because no other printer is doing what they're doing, is offering this beautiful service. And also their clients think of them as top of mind. The funny thing is, when you talk to a client, they always think of something you can do for them. They were going to ring you 2 weeks ago, whatever. Bear all that in mind. Helping people. You'll never go broke doing it. So that's the exercise I want to leave you with today, but we're not finished yet. But I want you to write down all those potential businesses. Think of anybody that deals with small business owners, B2B. Okay, so let's look at some very effective joint ventures for business coaches. These are for people just like you. Think about your own coaching clients. What a great value add for their business, for you to help them with their clients, their customers. Business brokers, don't know whether you've had much to deal with them. I have. But business brokers tend to get about 100, they get about 100 inquiries a month and they throw 90% of them away. And the reason why they do that is because these business owners have unrealistic expectations of the value of their business. And the reason why they have those is because they've put all the blood, sweat, and tears into this. Of course, they think the business is worth more. But a proper business broker, an affiliated business broker, is going to say to them, look, I can't get to that price right now, but have a think of this. If you joint ventured with a business owner, business broker, and all those people that had those unrealistic expectations, whoops, got a bit of a wobble there, no, unrealistic expectations of the value of their business, surely that business broker could send them to you, the business coach, to help them get to what that value needs to be. And you can do it in a matter of time. These are little things. Think about the bankers. Bankers have clients with cash flow issues. The worst thing a banker has at the end of the month is having to write a report on defaults on loans, and they're friends with a lot of these business owners. How could you add value to the banker? Well, you could go in and do some presentations again. How you can help these people overcome cash flow issues. Because if they've got cash flow issues, they're not looking at their numbers. Crazy. Okay. Financial planners. Well, there's an obvious one. They've got clients that want to earn more. They've got business owners that put money into retirement funds. And therefore, if you get in there and work with the accountant on that, you help them build the retirement fund. Obviously helps them build their business. They're happy. The accountant gets more work out of it. And let's get to accountants while we're here. Did you know the average accountant has 245 business owners? In other words, every partner in a firm, in an accounting firm, has 245 business owners. And that's according to what's called a good, the bad, the ugly report, which is done in Australia on accountants. Now, you've got to look at accountants. They're the most trusted advisor. You've got 240 odd prospects behind one door. And what about doing a presentation for them each month? But what about being able to go and talk to that accountant in their language with some knowledge of business? Because I can tell you here and now, you go into an accountant and identify that, hey, you know, the gross profit ratio of this business is 41%, like we did with we did exactly that with the wood manufacturer. And then we said to the accountant, is this the correct calculation? Yes, it is. Beautiful. They like advising. They like to be in charge. Believe me, and I'll go through that. Well, I haven't got time to go through why that happens. But the classic is that you'll say to the accountant, I've talked to the client, and the only thing we can do is increase the price by 10 or 12%. And the accountant, when we did that, turned around and said, hallelujah, I've been trying to tell this client for 3 years to do just that. And this is fantastic. The accountant will generally turn around and say, can we have a chat about this? Because I've got a bunch of clients that need the same education. There's a whole heap of things on how you work with accountants. That's what I specialize in. And that's where I believe business coaches should be living, in with accountants, communicate with them. So how to get regular referrals from accountants? Do a monthly meeting in there, 8 to 10 of their clients in the boardroom. When you know the numbers, you'll have the ear of the accountants. You'll be speaking their language. Knowing the numbers is going to enhance that rapport building process with them. You can help the accountant by showing their clients the benefits of preparing monthly financials. Yeah, accountants aren't very good at selling, I could tell you. I'm one of them. I'm not good. But the fact is, if somebody else is saying how important numbers are to your business and how important your accountant is to your business because they do the numbers and they have an accurate scorecard, that's when they get the message. Business owners need a scorekeeper. The accountant is the scorekeeper. The accountant finds problems in various areas of the financials. The coach implements strategies to fix them. What a beautiful combination that is. And every 3 months, you sit down with the accountant, you go back through the last 90 days and look at the next 90 days, all with the numbers surrounding. So joint ventures with accountants. As I say, an accountant has an average of 245 business owner clients. They're the holy grail for business coaches. And when it comes to referrals, the best one to get a referral from is an accountant. But it's not just their clients they refer. They get you involved in their circle of referrals. So you get that rapport going, you get to meet all their circle of referrals, bankers, solicitors, everything, financial planners, business brokers. So that can be very strong. I'm sure you would agree. Okay, that's the conclusion of the formal bit. We're right on 43 minutes. So we got there on time. Thanks, Michelle, for your help there. Are there any questions? I'll just do a bit of a pause there. Have we got any questions regarding accountants or joint ventures in general? Somebody wants to joint venture with a real estate agent. Yep. Look, real estate agents, especially a commercial real estate agent, would have business owners looking for commercial premises. Their investors, yeah, they can sometimes do with a coach. There are certain ways. We have to look into that. Michelle, I see that next one regarding business brokers. Yeah, I'll quickly run through that. It's like the fish that John West rejects, the 90%. They get these inquiries, and instead of listening to the people and saying, hey, I can help you with this, they just say, I can't help you. You want 800,000, I can only get you 600, bye-bye. Funny thing is, an irreputable, a very irreputable business broker, you've got to be careful of these as well. You need to look out for these signs. An irreputable business broker will say, yeah, I'll get you that number. You pay me $30,000 up front and then we'll work on it. And they never see the broker again. I've seen it happen time and time again. But imagine working with a very reputable business broker that says, look, it's not worth $800,000 now, but I know somebody who can get that there. Bingo, in you come. And the classic is I've got another question there, which I'll answer now. How do you really get to meet accountants? Yes, I know they're a bit abrasive. They don't return calls and they don't open the doors. I have not got time to explain why that happens. That's a 1 hour program but anyway, the situation is that with accountants, you get a client, from a broker or somewhere else or or through your marketing. The first thing you do with that client is go to their accountant. And the client absolutely respects that because you're going to the person that is the conservative view of this whole thing. And once you go in and introduce you to an accountant, you are then differentiating yourself from most business coaches, because as an accountant, I can tell you, I used to have business coaches coming in with the next best thing, everybody else banging on your door, and they'd promise a lot, but they did not deliver, and they wouldn't communicate with us. So that's something you can work on to build rapport with accountants. Once you do, it does take a while, but I'll tell you what, once you get there, it's home and hosed. Okay, so, all right, well, we've come to the end there. We'll do a Q&A in a sec, but before that, I'd like to put my compelling offer to you, which I think is a grand slam. I'm currently looking for 7 coaches to work with me. I want to help those 7 coaches to build a lifestyle. And you might think, what's this going to cost? No, it's cost nothing. We give back to the coaching community. We want to help coaches, even rookie coaches, even if you're at early stages or mid stages or you're struggling with things, I'd love to help you. This is, again, I'm only looking for 7 coaches. But if you sign up with me, within 30 days, you'll be able to walk into an accountant's office and set up a joint venture. Now, remember, the average accountant per partner has 245 business owner clients. How much marketing do you think you have to do when you get rapport going there? Is that going to mean you're going to do more coaching time and less marketing time and better lifestyle? That's what it means. Accounting is the language of business, and within 30 days, you'll know how to find hidden profits and cash flows in the financials. You will be able to demonstrate the value of your coaching fees, and you'll find your coaching fees every time. Give you a quick example here. Go through 6 months go through their credit card statements for 6 months, and you'll find a lot of items there that don't have any direct association to sales revenue. A lot of things that are being paid for that they don't even use anymore. You'll find your coaching fees just in there. That's another trick. Okay, so when you talk to accountants in their language, I tell you now, they listen. You'll build rapport. Your coaching fee in every instance is going to become an investment, not a cost. When you show prospects the dollar value of working with you, you only need to ask that question. Would you like my help with that? You're going to therefore boost your conversion rate with prospects. You'll retain clients for longer by getting them results. When you get results, they're not going to let you go anywhere. So don't think about a 3-month engagement. Think about the lifetime value of a client. And again, I'll show you how to calculate the cost of acquisition. And we'll talk about how to calculate the lifetime value of a client. And I'll show you how I built a $330,000 coaching business in just 18 months. All you need to do is put your name in the chat box, and Michelle will grab your name and she will contact you with more details on the program. I'm going to restrict this to 7 people, 7 coaches. And the big thing, you must be committed. Okay, that's all I ask. So 7 coaches, free coaching, plus programs that I'm going to put through there. We're going to do some, we'll be doing some group coaching and some individual coaching. And I have what's called an SOS program, where if you're stuck with something, you get hold of me for 15 minutes and we chat it out and we get you over the hump. And that's how you fast track. But in 30 days, you'll be talking to accountants. Okay, I'll now go to By the way, that if you want to, if you'd prefer to just come into my calendar link, Michelle has that in the chat box now. If you'd prefer just to make your own appointment, you can do so there. Okay, that's fantastic. So let's finish off. There any questions that I can answer? Anything that has gone unanswered? I hope that you know what we've got in the chat box there. I'm just having a quick look in the chat box now. Let me see. Yeah. I think we've pretty well covered everything. But again, feel free to use the calendar link there. Hop in, have a chat with me if you just want to have a chat. If you don't want to do that program, that's fine. But I do want committed coaches because that's what you need to be. You need to turn up. Thank you so much for your attention today. Looking forward to further events with you and looking forward to catching up with those coaches that want to come in, the committed coaches that want to come into that program. Thank you very much.